Hi there, welcome to Teachers Tech. My name is Jamie and it's great to have you here. Today I want to show you how to use CapCut's free video editor for your desktop. Now this is an incredibly simple to use video editor. I put it up there as one of the best ones to use. You can download it whether it be on your Windows or Mac and start editing videos right away. So if you're new to video editing, I'm going to be showing you the basics in this part one for this beginner's tutorial, and then we'll do more advanced stuff as we go through it. But let's get started on this beginner's tutorial on how to use CapCut for your desktop. If you haven't downloaded and installed CapCut on your computer yet, I'll put the link to this page right here down below in the description. Then you can click on it and come to it and just download it and install it, and then we can get going from there. I do want to point out, once you learn how to use CapCut on the desktop, it's very easy to switch to their different ways that you can edit videos. With CapCut, you can edit directly online. So if I go over to this right here, you'll see I can edit online. I would have to upload my videos to be able to do that. The nice thing with working on your desktop, you won't have to do that. But you can also switch over to your mobile device, maybe an iPad or phone, and edit videos with CapCut there. And what you're going to notice is that the layout is very, very similar. So you can just jump into that right away and edit videos. But you go ahead and get that installed on your computers, and then we're going to just open it up from there. So you can see right here, I have my CapCut shortcut on my desktop, and I'm going to go ahead and open that in a moment. I just want to point out I have this other folder here, and it has media in here. So by media, this is what we're going to be using to practice the video edits that I show you. But with this, there's just different MP4s, MP3 for audio, and some pictures, just so I can show you some examples. So that's what that folder is there. But I'm going to go ahead and open CapCut up right here, and you can see how quickly it pops open, and I really like that about it. Now, when we're starting a project, it's as simple as just clicking New Project. But before we do that, I just want to show you a couple things. I want to point out that this will automatically save. So when we start a project, you don't have to worry about saving it all the time. It will automatically save. The other thing I want to point out up here is settings. So if you go to settings and click this, you'll be able to notice that you can change your language. So if you need a different language, you can go ahead and adjust that. And the other thing is there's a sign in. I'm not signing in today. I'm just using everything locally on my computer, saving everything on my computer at the end. But if you did want to connect it, let's say to your TikTok account or log in with Facebook, you can do that as well. But as I said, in today's example, I'm just creating it on my computer because you can still upload it to where you need after that. So let's go ahead and start new project, and we'll do kind of a brief walk around with it. So with new project, you can see it snaps open, and we have a layout with these different windows kind of inside of here. So I do want to point out the layout can be changed very quickly. So I can go up to this tab right here, or this little drop down, and you can see I can adjust the layout. So if I was going to adjust, you can see now one went over to my other monitor, but I can always go back to default here. And we can always adjust these, drag any of these here to make more room in a certain one. We can even drag it out if we would like and place it back in. So I just want to point out you can set up things whatever works the best for you. We do have our menu up top. If you need to go back to change, you can see layouts here. We do have the settings that I've showed you before if you may need to make any of those. But with a lot of these, you can go along and change certain ones that I'll show you and we'll talk about later. But so that's your basic layout. Let's go ahead and bring some media in. So bring some of those videos in, bring some of that audio in or pictures, and I want to show you some different ways. Now, right here, we are under this first icon here, the media. So this is where we're going to bring in our media. This isn't where we're going to be editing it. We're going to edit it down here, but we're going to bring it into here first. So I'm just going to go import, and you can see it opens up, and since I've had this folder open before, it went to my desktop, to my CapCut media, which is the same as this one right here. So I could go ahead and pick a file. So this is an MP4. MP4 is a video, and I'm just going to hit open, and now I have this in here. I This is nothing to do with editing yet. I'm just bringing it into kind of my local media here, and I need to drag it down to here to edit. But maybe I want to preview it. You can see over here, I can go ahead and hit play, and I will go ahead and play, and I can pause it through here to see what the media is. Now that's one way I can bring different videos or audio in, is by hitting the import right here, and I can view it differently if I wanted a list versus the icon or the grid that I had before. But let's say I open up this folder here. Take a look at this. I could drag just right into this as well. So I have this one, now I have another clip in, but I can also bring multiple ones in. So let's say if I take all of these right here, selected all of them and just drag them in, I can just go ahead and let go. And now all these are in my media. So I can look through them, I can take a look. Some of these are videos, some of these are pictures on it, depending what I didn't look at my whole list that I had, but you get an idea with the time on it. You can see which ones are videos. This is just an audio. Okay, so now we have these in. I want to show you if all of a sudden you close out here all of a sudden, and I'm just going to hit the X up top and close it. What we started right here is here. So notice if I go ahead and just click on that, it opens back up and all the media that I brought in is right here. So now that we have some media in here, let's start with some basic editing. I just want to point out you can change the name of your files here. You can see I changed this to practice by just simply clicking on those three dots, go to rename, and then you can make it whatever you want, because as you get a lot of different videos, you'll probably want to name them correctly rather than just the numbers. I'm going to open this project back up, and let's start with making some basic editing and showing you how that works with a little short video here, this 30-second one of the bird. So I can add this to the track down here in a few different ways. I could hit the add to track here, and you can see how it gets put on here. Now, once it's down here, I'm just going to delete this. I'm going to hit the delete right here, and it goes away. I can also drag things down and place them in the track as well. Now, I'm going to jump into just some editing. I find people want to know this right away. How do you shorten a clip? So if I go right now, if I go ahead and hit the space bar, this is a little trick here. So if I hit the space bar and click it again, notice it stops and starts. It's a lot easier than hitting the stop and start just by the play and pause up here. So just use the space bar to go back and forth. Notice wherever I put my mouse and I hit the space bar, it jumps to that wherever that yellow line is on it. So it just says you're previewing the video as well, but I can also drag this playhead and drag it as slow or as fast as I want to go through it. So let's say I want to do a little cut here, a little trim, and I just want to start it about right before the bird grabs this first bite. Now, there's a few different ways to trim, and this works the same in all different editors. It's a simple one, trimming from the beginning or end. You just need to hover over the beginning, and if I click and hold my mouse, I can just trim it by doing that. So now the video is shorter on there. Notice there's a gap right here. Now, I have mine off right here, so I'm just going to go here. So turn on main track magnet. If I turn that on, and usually by default, yours would be on, and then it would push it back at the beginning, and it would always turn the clips, push the clips together, and you'll notice that as I add more. But I do want to point out, just because I trimmed that doesn't mean I can't put it back. I can actually drag it back as well. So I can trim from both ends. So if I trim from the end, I can trim from the beginning, and then since I have my magnet on, it pushes to the beginning. So I've made this clip much shorter now. You can see now it's an 11-second clip versus the 30-second clip that we started with, and I can trim even more, but I can always put it back. So as more just by grabbing and bringing them back that way. So don't think about it. If you trimmed and made a mistake, you can still be trimming and get it back to what you want. The other way you'd want to trim or take something out is usually in the middle. So if I go to my playhead and I'll say right here, I want to take something out. Well, this is where I can split. So this is my split tool right here. So the shortcuts, Control B. And if you're editing a lot, shortcuts are great to use. It'll speed you up a lot. But for beginner, you can start here. I'm just going to click it. And now I have two pieces. So I've made a split. And notice it just jumps back. If I turn off my magnet, and now I can drag them apart. So if I had it in my video now, if I have a gap, notice if I hit, I'm going to hit my spacebar and play it, as it gets to the gap, it's black. So usually you'd want to have that filled in to it. Now, if I want to take out a chunk, I could delete this like I've showed you before by hitting the delete. If you don't, and I could go ahead and drag that back in still, or I could even undo. So if I undo a couple steps, it goes back and you can see all the last steps that I made as well. Now, I want to point out if I go to another section and then I hit split again, now I have a chunk. So if I take out this chunk, watch right here, I could, since I don't have my magnet on, the gap is staying there. I can take this out, I can move it to the end. So I can reorder. If I go and hit my play here, and then it jumps over between those, just a slight jump cut. You don't even barely notice it through there. But I can change the order of everything, and I can make more splits. I can make this one and drag it into a different place, and I can drag these all around to make them fit. So you can slice up your video as you want. And when you select, you can actually select multiple. So if I select all three, you can see they're highlighted. I can drag them around like this. I can be deleting anything I want. If I turn back on my track magnet, they all connect very, very quickly like that. The other one I want to point out here is the snapping. So what snapping does, if you take a look at this, if I bring this forward, you notice it kind of just snaps to it, makes it easy. If I turn that off, and I'm going to zoom up. This is the zoom up to see, this makes it easier when you're doing editing, especially if you're trying to get to a specific frame, because then you can drag the playhead and you kind of see it frame by frame a little bit more. But with the snapping off, notice if I come up, it just slides right over to it. So just making sure that if I turn this off too, you notice it just jumps the track on it. So that's auto snapping and the magnet there that will, whether you want those on or off, but if you notice, if you don't want the gaps are all automatically connecting, just turn that off like it is now. Okay, so that's some basic editing with video. If I had a picture and like this tiger right here, if I bring this tiger in, I could drag it in, place it in right next to a video here. And if I go ahead and hit play, it goes from the video to the tiger. Notice there's some lines right here that I'll show you how to adjust that in a moment. But if we go ahead and we can add more videos and more pictures and put it in a line as well. But the neat thing with an image, if you put an image can be as long as you want because it's static, it doesn't change. I can just drag it for as long as I want. When you're bringing images in, they automatically start at 5 seconds because that was the default settings. If we look back into our menu, into our settings here, and just go over to performance, not performance, edit, and go into image duration. It's set at 5. So if you wanted it automatically to be shorter, you can make that adjustment there. But that's why they're coming in at 5 seconds there. But I can just trim from both sides just like I did with the video. With the video though, if I try to make it longer than it is, I can't drag the end longer because the video is only so many seconds long. I can change the duration, make it slow motion or fast motion, and then I'll show you how to do that later, but you can't drag a video longer. A picture you can. The last thing I just want to show you how to drag in is an audio. So if I find my audio here, here's an example here. I could drag this in just like that. And now if I just hit my spacebar, so now I have a little audio in here. I can trim my audio the same way like I did my video by dragging the ends. I can use, if I drag, I'm going to change, notice how it just changes the visual on it. I could go here and make a split. I could go ahead, I'm just going to hit backspace on my keyboard and I could trim from here. So it works very similar with your videos, with your audio. So now I have this little clip. I have an edited video a little bit where I've changed some things. I have a picture and I have some audio on it. So that's the start of some video editing, but I want to get into a little bit more detail here, but that gives you a place that you can start playing with. So I just deleted the different tracks that I had there before, and I'm going to bring in the bird here. So we have our bird. Now I want to point out how we can maybe make some changes. If you're making a video, you might not want it in this format right here. You might want it for YouTube Short or TikTok. If we go over to ratio right here, this is important because right now I'm under the 16:9, just kind of your normal size, kind of your TV computer screen. But if you were going to make a TikTok one, you can see that you'd want it to be this right here, this 9:16. So if I go ahead and choose that, that changes the format. This is kind of like a phone, how you would see it. So if I go ahead and just preview it now, this has made it tiny in here because it's trying to put the whole frame in here. So you have a lot of these black bars. Now I can go ahead and make some quick adjustments to this. So if I go ahead, I could grab the corners here. I can stretch this out. If I want those black bars to go away, I can click and center it kind of more of how I would like. So now if I go and hit play, you can see that's what would be the video. So I can make those adjustments. You can also change the position and size here. So I was grabbing the handles before, but I can go from here to see the percentage change here. I do this a lot of times and then I'll grow it and then I adjust it to how I want it to be centered in here. So you can do this no matter what the format is. I do want to point out, yeah, so if you're going to do a short, you need to be 9:16 here. If you want the larger format, it's going to be this one. And now I can shrink this back down. Maybe I want it zoomed up and moved up a bit. The other thing I can do with these videos, I have some quick functions right here. I can reverse. So just by clicking on the reverse, it will go through and it will reverse the clip from there. So that's a quick one. I can also undo like I did before. I can mirror. So if I go ahead and click, you can see how it quickly mirrors with these. Cropping, what cropping allows me to do, rotate. I can simply rotate these around into different ones and we have cropping. So cropping, if I wanted to focus on a certain part of the bird, if I just wanted that part of the video, I could go ahead and hit confirm. And so now the whole video is, so even if I scale it, you can see that the video is different because it's cropped down a lot. I've taken out a lot of the other video there. So these are some quick ones to do, but if you need to move ones around, you can quickly do that. Now I do want to point out, if I grab another video, and I'm going to drag it to the top track, if you play something on the top track, if I just go ahead and hit my spacebar for play, and I bring this back here, I'll do this one again. So it starts with the bird, play, and then it goes to the owl. Anything I place on top, that's what's going to be seen. But again, with the scale, I can scale this and almost do a picture in picture. So if I go to this owl and I have it selected, you can see it's highlighted, and I just scale this down, I can move this around anywhere. So now I have two videos playing at once. I can also do this again. If I bring this peacock into here, notice now that it becomes the only one that I see right here, but I could scale the peacock down and put a third video and move it to where I want. So those are just some basic editing. If you're doing things with layers, I'm not going to talk about it in this one, but with green screen, you would be using the green screen on the top layer and then using the effect to get rid of the green, and whatever's in the background you would see. But I'll do a different video on that one. But I just wanted to show you the quick effect of picture in picture and some of the basic features through here. But if we go in any of these, you can play with these. We have chroma key, which would be the green screen. We have mask, and we have enhance with these, but I'm going to save those for a different video. Now, I just want to show you how you can quickly make some more changes to your video. Make sure you have the clip selected that you want to add these to. But if I take a look, and I already showed you this a bit with the video, how we have our basic and our cutout and mask and where these options are through here. But we also have up top audio. So if this video did have audio, I could adjust the volume in it, have a fade in, fade out. If it had voice, I do voice effects. I'll come back to this and make an adjustment to one of my audio tracks in a moment. We have speed. So with speed, I can just simply drag this. So if I want this to be faster, I just need to increase it over 1. So now it's at 4 times speed, and you can see that all moves quite quickly if I move it back to the way it was before. So if I move it back to just at 1 here, and then I do it again, you can see the actual one, how it was moving, and I can actually make it slower as well. You can see how the duration of the clip changes as I make those adjustments as well. I'm just going to put it back to 1. If I move over to animation now, so animation allows me to add these to the beginning or the end. So on the in, and we have out, and we also do have a combo here. I'll just focus on the in and out. But if I have the clip selected and I go through and look, and if I just click, and what you notice is if I go back, I'll play it again, it added that to it. But I can simply click another one, and you can see it makes the quick changes. If I zoom up, you should be able to see this white line showing where that animation is on there. So it's very quick to add that to the beginning. If I go to out and I click one of these, it will add that to the end. So these are just little animations, kind of like the transitions that I'll show you in a moment also. We have our adjustments here. So if I go to adjustments, if you want to quickly start to change kind of the tone or the color, I can drag any of these. You can see these adjustments I can make in a hurry to change, if your video wasn't quite the way you wanted it, you can make some of these changes to it here. So everything is just very easy, making sure you have the clip selected and then taking a look at all the different properties that you can adjust. Now let's just move over to that audio file and I'll show you how you can make some changes to that. I'm just going to go ahead and grab an audio here and bring it in. So like I showed you before, we can quickly do some trimming or cut things out using it very similar, making the same adjustments like we do in a video. But when we have audio selected, if we look up here into our properties, we have basic and speed. This is where we can adjust our volume. So if we need it, if we pay attention, if I drag this up, you can see that it's increasing here, and it shows here this went up as well. I can also drag this bar. So if I hover over and get these arrows like this, click and hold, I can make the adjustments here, bring it up and down as well. We can do a fade in and fade out. So if I drag this, so if you look at the beginning, as I drag this, take a look at this curve that's there. So that would give that fade in, and I can make that longer and longer as I bring it in. You can see how the arc changes, and the same thing with this. So if I just make I'm going to make a split right, we'll do a short one here. I'm going to undo my one spot here. I'm going to go here and I'll just do a split just so you can see this. And if I go here and fade out, you can see how it curves down. So it's going to get quieter as it goes through. So it gives that just like that. So it makes some very quick adjustments to your fade in, fade out. We have noise reduction that you can turn on depending on what, maybe it's something you recorded. We have voice effects. This doesn't have voice in here, but it's very easy. If you have it, this is something that you can play. Try recording your own voice and then adding the voice effects to it. And we also do have speed. So if we wanted things to be slower, we would drag it this way, and you can see how it gets longer because of this. And if I drag it the other way, it's going to speed up a lot. So if I go ahead, and so you can make those quick adjustments to the audio with those basic features. So now I want to show you how you can add transitions in CapCut. I have a series of different videos here, 2 videos, and there's some pictures here also. So I can put transitions between any of these. So first of all, without any transition, it goes from the owl and it kind of jumps over to the peacock here. But if I wanted to add a transition, I just go up to transition, and you can see all these different transitions are here. I can pick any of these. So I'm just I'll pick this one here. I'm gonna just drag it in between the two. And notice I have this transition that shows up here. So if I go ahead and then just hit play, and then now the transition has that swirl. If I have this transition selected, you can also see up here in the properties, I can go ahead and change the duration. Do I want this to be longer or shorter? If I go to this, I can actually drag it from here as well. Do you want this transition to apply to all? So if I hit apply to all, it goes to any of the in between any of a different clip, and we'll add it there. So if I undo that last one, it will take that away. But I can also go and with any of these, I can add different ones. So here, if I go here and I'll just start it, we have that transition. So very, very quick to add. Now, the other thing that a lot of people do in their first edits of their video, they want to add text. If I go up here to text, I can do this in a few different ways. Now, if you wanted to just add some default text, start from scratch, all we have to do is select just the plus, add to track, and just like that. It goes into wherever the playhead was. So you can see since the playhead was placed here, that's where it went, but I can drag this wherever I would like as well. Now, you can quickly make changes to this. You probably don't want it to say default text. Just go up to it. I'm going to double click into it, and I'll just write hello, and we can make that change. Take a look at all the different things that you can do under basic. We can change our font. If I wanted it to look differently, I could go through, change the size, change my color. All these are very, very quick to do. So if I go through, if I click off of this too and just click on it, you notice I can drag this all around and size it from here too. So I can go down this list and you can see all the different things that I can make the changes to. They have these preset styles. So if I go ahead and select any of these, I can quickly make the changes like this with these preset styles. So usually you can find yours, what you're looking for with one of those, but you have all these different options that you can just kind of be clicking and playing with to see what you get. We do have a few other options over here where we have our bubbles and we have effects as well. So to play around with different ones of these and see what you get with it. Because I do want to point out over here, you can start with your text templates or the effects. You can see the effects through here. So I could start with these already and go through and kind of go through certain categories, whether it be color or different multicolor ones to go through, and it will just pick those as you go through. So, and then we also have templates, and the templates are handy. So if I go through and if I just move up ahead here and we pick, let's pick this one here, and I just place this in. So I'm going to hit plus, and now I have this that will go through, and I can still make the adjustments here. I can make it say something else. So if I was typing hello again, and it will just go through and it'll have that change to it. So before I show you how to save your finished product, I just want to show you a few other things. I'm going to quickly go through this, and then you can kind of just play with these on your own. I want to point out audio. With CapCut, there's audio that you can use so you can go through, you can search, but you can pick any of these. You might have to download, hit the download first. But if I add to track, and then these ones are fine to use. And then I can make all those adjustments just the way that I showed you before. If you wanted if you wanted to trim any of these and make any fade in, fade outs. Now, these other things here too, I just want to point out we have stickers. So the stickers allow you, if I was going to go ahead and let's put, we'll just put this one right here. I'll give the like here. So if I put this one here and then I hit add, and remember wherever the playhead is, it adds it. I can move it over here, and now I've added that sticker to it, and I can adjust it to wherever I want. I could add multiple stickers in here as well. We have effects, extremely easy to use. We have all these different video effects. Again, you just need to click on the clip. So if I was going to go back to the owl, and if I again, sometimes you have to hit that download first, and if I have the clip, I can drag it into the clip if I want. So if I was, you can see how it changes the owl. There, I'm going to delete that hello, but you can see the effect looks like a cool effect, and all I did was drag that down. So if there was a different one, I could drag it down that way. So I have multiple ones. So simple to use, just something you can play with and take a look at all the different ones. And remember, I'm just using a free video editor here. We also have our filters. We can go through, you can see they even have the Barbie filter and the Oppenheimer one here that just came out. And you go through and whatever clip you check, you can go ahead and just, if you move your playhead over, then you can see it, and then you can kind of add that filter very, very quick. And the same thing with adjustments. You can add an adjustment that will go on top if you wanted to change the LUT or the adjustments. There's different things you can play with here. So let's say this was our finished video, short video. We have effects, we have music, we have transitions and text and all this stuff in here. If this is all done, we just need to go to export up top here. So when I hit export, you can see where is it going to save to. So it gives me a path. I can change it here. So I could find a different path, create a different folder if I wanted to. I could title it differently. What's the resolution? Well, right now this is high def here, so you can see I can go up to 4K even with that. But you can go through, make all the adjustments that you want, export just audio. If you wanted it as an MP3, you could even run a copyright check on this. So I can go ahead, hit export, video saved to your desktop or laptop. It gives me some options to sign in. I'm just saving, remember this, to my desktop here. So you can see the video is saved to my desktop. Do I want to go post it? I could go right from here, log in to these. Right now, I just would have it in that folder. So if I go open folder, this should pop open. This is the end video that I just created. It was a very short one. So if I go ahead and open it, I have this finished video. You can see the effects in it. You hear the audio, transitions, text, all those things that we simply did and put it together. So now with your creativity and using CapCut, I think you can do some really impressive videos. And I love that this is all free. And like I said, if you go over to your other, if you want a different platform, try it on your mobile device, try it online and see what you think of it. So I will come out with more here, just more advanced techniques or some tips and tricks on this. Let me know if this has helped you out with using CapCut for the desktop free version. Thanks for watching this time on Teachers Tech. I'll see you next time with more tech tips and tutorials.